How's it going? Welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I am your host, Mike Gonzalez, and thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for everybody who comments and for who likes and comments, and for all the messages at lostlikemike@gmail.com. I started the episode and I started running it for about 20 minutes, and I got derailed really quickly, and so I deleted it and I'm starting over again. To clarify, I don't think that that's not being real. It's funny that I say that, but I'm just saying, I think you can get in your own head when you start off aggravated, and which I was, and you try to talk about the things that you were going to normally talk about on the show, and then find yourself just a train wreck waiting to happen. So a lot of basically I'll tell you how it went down. All I was trying to get out was that I had an argument before I started the podcast, and in the pursuit of just kind of needing to get the show out there and get it done, I started the show and I was a little heated, and I was already in a bad mood because of it. And I gave a diatribe about how communication is important, but it came off more like I was just bitching, and I wasn't really feeling that. So you can't go from that and then starting to talk about the things that I wanted to talk about today on the show. And I'm sorry to be vague, but I'm just saying, I'm still going to talk about things that I want to talk about in the show. I'm just saying, it's like saying, I'm mad. I had an argument and I'm still in a bad mood. Let's talk about puppies, right? It just doesn't work. It comes off, at best, it comes off fake. And at worst, it comes off just poisoned and muddy and gross. So I decided to scrap it and restart. So here I am. Welcome to another episode. And I did have an argument prior to starting the show. And it brought to light a lot of issues that have to do with communication. Communication, it's difficult when you're wanting to get things out of your head and put them in somebody else's head in such a way that they not only understand but can empathize and know where you're coming from in a real way. And it's a two-way street. And so in retrospect, when you're trying to think about an argument you have with somebody and you really try to sit there and say, what the hell were they trying to say? What are they trying to get at? It's hard to do that. It just is. So that being said, I didn't have a lot of runway between that happening, having an argument and trying to communicate these ideas and being frustrated that you can't get them out. Words aren't coming, both parties are not getting anything across, and then hitting record and saying, I'm about to communicate my thoughts and feelings in some sort of relatively simple way that can be received by any listeners that choose to hang out with me on this podcast. So it's hard to do that. You feel defeated, and here you present yourself, and you think, well, why bother? This is just difficult. And as far as rabbit holes go, in terms of that, next thing you know, I'm talking about just the weirdest things. And I said, you know what? Let's draw a line in the sand, start over again. Just hard feelings. Okay. But so now that everybody's nice and confused, let's get on with the show. Let's talk about puppies. No, August is a big birthday month for everybody in my family. Summer, we have a lot of summer babies, period, between my brothers, cousins, everybody. Very few throughout the year, but a lot of summer babies. But August is the big one. My sister, my mom, my nephew, so on. And my son, it was a big one. I took him out to dinner. 18 years old, right? It was very special. We went to a steakhouse that we've been going to periodically throughout for many years. Off and on, we would go there. And I remember it's actually a very gross story. One of which I don't even know if I should tell. But that's the point of the show, right? To just be honest and talk about things and share them and whatever. He's a young boy growing up into being a man. So I tell this story with all the love and respect for that idea. When he was little, when he would be a little boy, like, I don't even know how old, I guess, if I had to guess. He was little. We've been in a situation where I would have to pick him up for visitation since he was little. The first 3 years of his life, I was every day with him, solid full 3 years going up until his 4th birthday. I would see him every day and whatever. We're not getting into all that. I'm just saying, shortly after that, we had to do visitation. And so a lot of time driving, because he lived across town, and we would just drive around, to do festivities and whatever, because he was, that's, you sort of compensate for the fact that you go from seeing somebody 7 days a week to 7 hours a week. You do some compensating. And at one point, for a brief time, it would be overnight and so on. But anyway, when he was a little boy, we would drive around to different festivities and things, and he would toot into the car seat, right? Into the car seat. And I'd be like, dude, like, it's like little boy stuff, like, right? Young man stuff, little boy. We're just, whatever. I keep going back and forth because I don't want to be like, it was like last Tuesday. That's not what I'm saying. Anyway, and if this gets to be too graphic, I apologize, whatever, too bad. But, so I would say, dude, man, like, you're tooting into the seat of the car. It's going to make the car seat stink. And I don't, just pick up your butt cheek. And Jesus, like, what are you doing? Like, anyway. And I say it like that, but that's not how a dad tells a little boy. I was just like, son, come on, man. You can't be tooting into the seat. Like pick up your butt if you're going to toot, like, at the very least, because you're making you can make the seat smell. Whatever, okay? And it was one of the first times I took him as a little boy. We went to the steakhouse, and it's kind of like borderline fancy. It's fancy. It's nice. It's a nice steakhouse. But we went special occasion. He and I took my little boy, and we were sitting on this back table area and a booth, and talking normal and everything. And then he's like. He says, Dad, I remember, and then he picked up his butt cheek and he tooted in the middle of this fancy steakhouse, whatever. And I said, no, son. Oh, geez, son, like, lesson number 2, when I took him to the bathroom, and I said, if you want to, go to the bathroom, or if you need to go, but certainly you don't, just do that in the middle of a restaurant. And it's brought a lot of like potty humor from him to me. He's always tortured me with this subject. Like like when he got a little bit older, we would go to a drive-through, and a lot of drive-throughs at fast food restaurants have like two windows. Like you stop at the first one, you have your window down. How you place your order, and they say, well, drive to the second window or drive up to the window, whatever. Well, what he would do is he would wait until I'd finished placing the order, drive up to the window, and he would see that we're going to go to the window, and he would toot or whatever, and I would have to like try to blast the AC and roll the windows down before I'd get up to the window, and short of having to like be stuck there in front of that person, and they obviously think that anyway, he's always been kind of silly like that with me. But we went back to this steakhouse, and it was kind of nice to tell stories to each other. Like we talked about significant events in our lives, that memories and things that he always wondered about, that I wouldn't tell him the whole story about, like because it happened. I not that I protected him from knowing things, but just wanting to hear stories and hear them, and when they hit a little bit different, and he remembers them differently. Like he remembered a song that was one of his favorite songs, and he was like, what was this? Why did I like this song? And it had something about a carrot, and I said, well, it was a funny story about it, because it was a song by Neutral Milk, I think they call it. Anyway, it's the King of Carrot Flowers. But the song basically talked about the mother sticking a fork in the dad, and and the dad imagining all the different ways he could die and whatever. But he said that he loved the song because of when he was little. He used to say, that reminds me of you and Mom. And I was laughing, haha, that's funny. Mom, your mom's sticking a fork in me. Haha, whatever. But he listened to it, and he just thought it was, I played the song for him. And he was like, I don't know why that was one of my favorite songs, but it added like a different element, because I was getting to see his reactions to stories and things of when he was little, and get the perspective of a kind of an 18-year-old young man, about these different things. It was fun, but also kind of emotional too. I mean, it's one of those significant birthdays where I remember him being very small and getting upset because I knew that I was going to be the age that I am when he would be 18, and feeling sorry that I would be older. It's hard to explain. And it's funny, as with having an 8-year-old daughter, thinking that I'm going to be 10 years older than I am now when she's 18, bums me out. But it hit a little different with him, because it was a sort of a first time realizing that I didn't know what my age would look like. And it felt like he wouldn't, I don't know. It just felt like I wish that I could be young and um, younger, um, to hang around, to be around when he's doing these different significant times in his life. Um, you know, not to say that I'm going to die tomorrow, not going to just compress cardboard, but I just I remember feeling like that, and to actually make it here to his 18th birthday, it hit a little weird. And then just telling certain stories, like he said, why does a golden slumbers, um, why does it? He was saying, why does it upset me, or what is it about that song that for some reason every time I hear it, and I told him a story when he was a baby. Like I said, the first 4 years of his life, every night, I struggled. I had to work all till 2, 3 in the morning, and then I would get up early in the morning with him and play with him all day until I had to leave again. But no matter what happened, I would get home and he would be asleep, and I would tuck him in, like, fix the blankets on him, and whether I'd get him up for feeding or I would always sing Golden Slumbers at the end of the night as a lullaby to put him to bed. Golden Slumbers from the Beatles. Uh, if you haven't heard it, you could look up the song. Basically, it says, once there was a way to get back homeward, once there was a way to get back home, sleep, little darling, do not cry, and I'll sing a lullaby. I would sing this every night, without fail, and to the point where he would sing it with me, in the way that children do, and to the point that before I stopped singing the song, I took him into the studio because I thought it was adorable, and I played the song on guitar and sang it, and then I had him sing it. We since lost that recording, but where he mumbles the words and sings the parts that he knows, like a 4-year-old would. But I told him that that one day, when I no longer lived with him, the dust took a little while to settle, and then finally I was able to keep him overnight. My original custody agreement had me having him for 3 nights, 4 days, every week. But the school system stepped in and said that at the parent-teacher conferences and whatnot, that the teachers were arguing that he was suffering in school when I would bring him in on Mondays. And I thought it was BS, but it was worded in such a way that if I cared about his success, that I would allow a more stable environment to be set up where he was to have more consistency, sleeping at his house, more nights a week. So obviously I said, well, okay, I'll just spend the daytime with him. And anyway, I don't want to get off track, but so it was one of the first nights that I had him come over. I had set up a room at my parents' house, kind of neutral ground where I could go stay with him. I remodeled this room to be our area, and I was trying to make it as homey as possible and trying to bring back whatever routines I could. So I took him into the to put him to bed, and I start singing Golden Slumbers, and Once There Was a Way, and I'm singing it to him, and then he stopped me, and he said no more, and he said like it hurts too much, and it just about killed me, and I never sang that song again. It was one of those weird moments of emotional maturity that, and he doesn't even remember that moment, but he remembers not liking to hear it. Like he says it upsets him every time he hears the song. He doesn't know why. And it's right up there with, like, I think other songs, but that's not for me to talk about. But I don't know. A lot of stories, but through the eyes of being able to sit there and talk to him. There's been a lot of challenges, a lot of things that we've gone through, a lot of fighting to be in his life, fighting to matter, because when you're relegated to one day a week, then other people, without any control of your own, begin to take a bigger, significant role in their lives. Because if I'm only there for 8 hours on one day a week, and he's constantly staying at his grandparents' house, and they're constantly influencing him with their words and things, and just their sheer presence. I remember once when he was a teenager, like in like maybe 16, 15, 16, and him not even trying to be hurtful or mean, made some comment about how significant his great grandfather was in his life, and like being there for him, or whatever the offhand comment was. And I lost it and got all upset and angry and stormed off, and because I didn't know how to communicate it, but because it was no choice of my own to not be there. I was not only honoring an agreement, but I wasn't. The opportunity was not going to be there for me to have that role, and I fought to be in there as much as I could be. It's never easy when you are dealing with, a second party that you're not with. It's just not. It's not easy. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, we've had some significant moments recently where he sees now the struggles I went through to try to be a dad. Like, I would tell him, like, don't ever listen to Cats in the Cradle. Don't ever pull that shit with me. Like, I'm not that. I never was that. Where you try to reach out and I had more important things to do than to be in your life. That you can't. Nobody can characterize me as that. I fought to find out when his baseball practice was, or when his games were, or when his shows at school band or whatever were going on, I fought to find out about those things, and in a timely manner where I could actually go. And it's tough when you're dealing with like somebody else who um, decides to make it harder on you to do that, whatever. But, and like I always say, I'm not knocking his mom. You know, we were both trying to navigate and figure it out the best we could, and you know, we both made mistakes, and we both were difficult people. I never wanted him to suffer for that, but you know, I would always call, I would always try to be involved. There was many times where he made the decision to not go and spend the day with me. There was tumultuous times, different things going on, where it was just easier for him not to. Holidays that he preferred to spend them with her side of the family, because they had kids his age that were getting together, and my family was dysfunctional in terms of like figuring out when to get together, and more often than not it wasn't on the holiday, which was no fault of his. But it was never me not making the effort, or I was met more often than not. It was me trying to call, trying to be involved, and being met with, I'll call you back, or well, just, I got to do this, and then I'll, be there. From him to me, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to make myself out to be dad of the year. I'm just saying, like, you can't paint me to be the dad who didn't try to be there for everything. I did. And I did go to his games. I went to one baseball game where he scored a point. He made a run. I embarrassed myself really bad because I didn't even know. I don't know what possessed me. I don't even want to talk about it. But basically, I ran around the field. I was so excited that he did it that I was like. And anyway, I did a really good job embarrassing myself. So, but I went to different band shows that he did, and different events and whatnot. So he said that he realized in a lot of ways that he was less than nice to me. He made it difficult in certain respects, and I respected him for saying that. His grandparents, like if the roles were reversed, I would, for example, when he was really little, I would knock on the door and nobody would answer for 15 minutes, and then I would call his mom, who was at another house, and she'd be like, knock on a window, and I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna knock on a window. And then next thing you know, out of an 8-hour time that we were supposed to spend together, I'm spending 45 minutes to an hour trying to get them to open the door and it's like, does nobody know that 11 o'clock is the same every week, and that if I say I'm supposed to pick up my son at 11 o'clock, that, I don't know, maybe you'd have the child ready and be, have the wherewithal to do it without me having to bang on the window, you know what I mean? Like, but no, they would do that every week, 45 minutes, an hour. They would say it's because he was still sleeping at 11 o'clock in the morning, or they would say that for whatever reason he was still eating breakfast, or still, and it was just and to the point where when he had his own, like when he was supposed to be in charge of getting up himself, I would wait an hour uh, out by the car, just waiting for him to come out the door. To the point where I started saying, "Listen, man, like, I'm gonna be here at 11. If you're not ready at 11, I'll give you a window of however much time, 15 minutes, and then I'm leaving." To try to teach him the lesson of, some days we'd miss the entire Sunday because he would not come out after whatever line in the sand that I would draw, and tell him that, hey, listen, man, you got to respect the fact that you're making somebody wait. And then some days it would just be like, I've always felt that if he wanted me to be there, if he wanted to go with me, then he could make that decision. All right. Like, and some weeks he would just say, you know what, I'm not feeling it, whatever. I'm going to stay in this week. And so it made it difficult because you have to understand, I was, everything revolved around this kid in my world. Like, me working, me doing whatever, everything I was doing was, every day was him. And then when we were separated, and I just watched this connection that it was pure and nobody could get in between it. I just saw it just being chipped away. It was the first time in my life that I knew no matter what I said or did, I could not prevent that inevitability. I could not force him to be back in my life every day. It was never going to happen. That I knew that the future I envisioned for me and him to be every single day, until he went to school, was shattered. It was done just in an instant. And everything else in my life, I had always had the presumption or the idea that I could change my circumstances and inevitably get what I wanted, either through hard work or determination or whatever the case was. But it was the first time that I said, no matter what I say or do, no matter how hard I work or how hard I try, I can never undo this. And since it's a finite amount of time, then it's a failure that I have to accept as done deal. It was the first time, as strange as that sounds, to say out loud, it's the truth. It was a defeated mentality that I can't even begin to explain. Anyway, but that being said, I think it's just it was a very significant 18th birthday, Not only, and it doesn't have anything to do with child support and all that kind of stuff, because I'm paying for he's going to get braces, and if he needs money for school or things like that, the well doesn't just dry up and all of a sudden I cut him off and say, you're 18, let's see what you got. I'm going to support him and try to help him in the way that you would support and assist an 18-year-old who should be, making some significant decisions on his own now. He was talking about maybe going to the military, for example. Which I only advise him to really think about the circumstances, like the motivating factors that are pushing him towards that. There's a lot of training and a lot of things that he would benefit from the military, but his motivations should be pure, because not everything that is promised is given, if that makes sense. And I'll leave it at that, because this is not a political show. This is not something that where my 2 cents are going to matter in terms of that. I just think that he needs to know what he's doing. It shouldn't be because of a girl. It shouldn't be because of promised money or healthcare or a GI Bill or whatever is promised. It should just be motivated by whatever he feels that, if he's going to be a mechanic or get certain certifications or training in the military, beautiful. If it's because of love of country and patriotism, beautiful. Whatever it is, it just, make it clear and make it true. Okay. Let's see. So last week I talked about having purchased this guitar in this unusual circumstance where all the stars aligned and I sort of ended up at the right place at the right time, right? So I was all high on this idea that I had done this. So I started going on to this website on this app, OfferUp, where it has these different things for sale. And I like the idea. There's this thing where so you catch somebody when they just post it, right? There's an item, and a lot of times it's the best deal you're going to get. You find a listing, it says whatever item for pretty cheap, and they just posted an hour ago. If you swoop in there and outrun the other sharks that are trying to, purchase, then you might get a good deal. You're not going to find a deal like that, 2 weeks under it been posted for 2 weeks. It's just not, it doesn't exist, because most of the time it's either because it's an overpriced item. It's one of the things that people that on OfferUp do on I'm sure every website, Facebook Marketplace, wherever you're at, they'll say like new, and then they'll price it like if it's at the store. It's just, people are never going to learn, but whatever. They'll say it's still in box, so I'm going to charge you like you're buying it at Best Buy. Come on, man. Because I'd rather buy it and be able to return it. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I'm not going to get back into that. I'm just saying the best deals you're going to get, Peter Brady, good. The best deal you're going to get is if you swoop in and catch it when it's just posted. So sometimes I'll just flip on to OfferUp and refresh the screen to see if there's any new postings of items that I've been looking for. And I was doing this and I found this really great deal, and it said posted 2 hours ago or something ridiculously quick. And so right away I message and say, hey, any issues with these items? No, they work. Everything's work in order. Cool. And here's the thing. Don't put on your listing, make an offer. Right? And then you have an amount there. Right? And then it says make an offer. So what does that mean, right? It means, I ask, will you take $10 less? And then they just repost the amount like, no, I said this amount. Yeah, stupid, but you also said to make an offer, so whatever. I'm willing to pay that because it's a low price. I said, all right, I'll take it. And then they respond, cool. Can you meet tomorrow instead of today? Also okay. I said, sure. On their listing, it said must sell as soon as possible, right? So I figured, cool, I'll meet you up tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Let's go. So I messaged the next day. I get ghosted. Completely ignored. So at like 11 o'clock at night, I get a message from them. Sorry, I got caught up in moving. It's a lot going on. Again, no problem. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, let's meet. Ghosted. And I didn't even, ghosted to the extent that I said, meet you tomorrow at 5. And then at 5 o'clock, I said, all right, cool. I'll be off in like 15 minutes. Where would you want to meet? Ghosted again. And by that point, I'm like, you know what? But it's frustrating because, like, I mean, the post is still there. I refresh. I like I always do. I go back in, not looking for that, but also look just for the fun of looking for other things. You know what I mean? And there I am, and I seen it like a sore thumb just sticking out. It's there for sale. It's still for the same price. I thought, this fool's just probably trying to, like, he realized how low his bid was and thought, you know what? I can make that amount just taking it to the pawn shop or selling it to some music store. So, and that guy bid on it too quick. So I think I'm going to get rid of him, and then I'm going to take my post down and put it back up later on for like a more reasonable amount of money if I can make more, whatever, right? Let that be the motivation. But no, it's still there for that same low price. It's like, what's wrong with my money that this fool doesn't want to take, doesn't want to make the deal? Or is there something else, some other nefarious thing that's going on that I'm just not too savvy on? Like, if I'm not wicked enough to figure out this, I just don't get it. But because I never gave an indication that I wasn't down, ready to go. Just makes me angry. But that was just on a side note of things. I'm still selling those comic books. I bought the backing boards and the bags so that all of the comics can be at least trying to take care of them in the best way that they can be presented. It's a pain in the ass though. Like, really, I'm just not a collector. I could do it. I know that how to take care of things, in such a way that it can preserve some sort of value, but I don't like the idea of putting that time and attention into like objects or like to material things. They're great stories, great artwork, things that you'd want to see and enjoy, but not to the extent that I would want to, fear opening a package or fear of looking at something for fear of exposing it to like some sort of damage or some sort of spill or something, or like, oh look, a little crease happened. Oh, it's not mint. It's less valuable than this other one. It's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to, or I don't know how to allow myself to do that. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'm at that phase right now where I need to get it the hell on. I don't want it to be here anymore. So I'm not greedy about it. I'm gonna probably sell these way undervalued. A friend of mine was asking questions about it, so I sat there for at work, I'm doing these different things, and then on my lunch hour, I took a look at some of the values of them because they were asking. Obviously they're not mint. They're not, because I don't even know if the people that are selling things that are quote unquote mint are actually mint, but I would say they're probably, majority of them are like middle of the road to right beneath, middle of the road, right? So I would price them accordingly. I was looking at these, they have like these gauges where like they say like by points how perfect these items are. And at the middle to right below middle, like fair value, very few of them were below $3, $2. A lot of them were ranging. Some of them were $20 plus, or some of them were $100 because of the whatever issue they are, right? But I'd even say, to the extent if you said $3 each, right? I just don't have the patience or the where to sell them all separately. I just don't. I don't want to sit there and be like with my, everything laid out and saying, "Oh, you just want those two, cool. Oh, you want this? Oh, all right. See you next week. Maybe I'm not looking towards doing that. So it's probably why I'll sell them for a lot less than what their overall value is, because I don't want to. Like when I sold those pops, the Funko Pops, the guy that I sold them to, he was like, "Yeah, we have a shop and people come and buy one or two here and there." And so he has warehouses, like he has, stock piles of different ones. And they make money on a long scale, you know what I mean? Like over time. And so, they have that patience. They could do that. And they have that business model where that makes sense to them. It doesn't to me. I want them out. You can realize things about yourself, and that's something about me. No thanks. No thanks. I'm not that guy. Anyway, it's gonna be a little bit shorter one this week. I'm gonna go get ready for a show and try to shake off this bad mood. And it was my mom's birthday too. I took her to breakfast with my sister, whose birthday it also was, but hers was the week before. And then, it's one of those things where like I said, I'm going to totally get some birthday cards for each of them, and I'm going to show up and with cards. And then I get caught up in all this other BS, and then I didn't bring them cards. And then I'm like, I'm the worst. It's funny, my mom was making a speech, and she was like saying, "Thank you all for coming to my breakfast. It really means a lot to me." And I was like, And I interrupted right in the middle. I said, I meant to bring a birthday card for you too, to my sister. Happy birthday to you too. We laughed about it, like all of us, because I thought that she had rounded it up. She had said, "Thank you everybody for coming. Really meant a lot." And then she paused. And so I interjected and said, "Oh, and it's your birthday too," whatever. And she said, "Oh, that was the end, I guess, of what I was saying." I felt bad. But, birthdays are one of those funny things of trying to recognize people who made it through another year. But it was nice. We had some family members there, my nephews and my great nieces, my mom and my sister and her husband, and it was nice we sat for a long time joking and laughing and having a good time. It was very nice. But I would have wanted to take those birthday cards, and it's one of those things where you kick yourself for not doing the things you say you're going to do. But so, and then my nephew, had a significant birthday too, a big birthday. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for hanging out, coming by and visiting. Be sure to message me. Appreciate the topics that have been sent in by way of my email, lostlikemike@gmail.com. So keep those coming. I'll try to get into the different things that people want to hear about. Thank you for sharing your stories on there as well. I will see y'all next week. And take care of yourself.